I'm an astrophysicist. How do solar systems form? This is one of those questions which, brings these lot of different fields of astronomy together. So let's start from the scratch. Solar systems are bound to a star. So we will go back to how stars form. That will lead us to how these solar systems actually form. So the stars are formed from what we call these places as stellar nurseries. So these are these regions in the sky, clouds of dust and gas, basically hydrogen and helium, and a mix of a lot of these other small elements. And they provide these perfect conditions, perfect ingredients to make the stars. And so, in this region, which you're seeing in the picture here, a lot of these areas, a lot of these dots they're seeing are very, very young stars. And then the way they actually end up forming from these clouds is that denser materials start to, come together and they collapse into their own gravity. And that collapse is basically all of these material rushing to the center to form this protostar, as we call it, to start with. So if you look at the process, when this material is actually going down, as seen in the top here, you start getting all of this material that's rushing around to get to the center. What ends up happening is that all this material, because of the motion, starts forming almost like a pancake like disc. And this disc actually has all of these material that not only forms the star, but actually also ends up forming the planets. And so during its young age, what is happening is all this material is getting onto this protostar. So it's still accreting a lot of material. And as it gets bigger and bigger, the energy that's inside this protostar starts to ignite the hydrogen, which means this is when we call a star is born. And so when the star is born, you still have a lot of material that's still left behind, that's not accreting onto the star anymore. However, it still has a lot of dust and gas. What at that point starts happening is that all this material moving around the star is, hitting each other. So you can imagine two dust particles colliding, sticking together, and then it becoming a little bit bigger dust particle. And you keep going and you start getting boulders by basically, colliding, running into each other. These boulders then start forming bigger and bigger rocks. Which end up then forming, planets, moons, asteroids, comets, all of these material based on where they are in their distance from the star. And so what we end up getting over time, most of the gas dissipates. And so you end up with these rocky material that ends up being planets, moons, and then the leftover material like asteroids. You have small meteoroids, which are just smaller rocks that are flowing through the solar system, and then comets. So this entire process, at least in our history of our own solar system, has taken about 4.5 billion years. So it's a not very short process. However, each of these steps basically help in forming these planets in our own solar system. And we actually have been lucky with the technology that we currently have, that we have been able to detect a lot of these solar systems in our own galaxy, let alone in our own neighborhood. So these planetary systems basically are inherited from the material that was inherited by the star from these stellar nurseries, or the regions in which the stars actually form.